Back in Little Italy today, I figured I would share a story with you guys of another girl in my past. I wouldn't say my past because I could see her now if I wanted. She still, likes my pictures and all, but I've known her since 2023. She's not in the context document that I put out for you guys, so you guys could follow along with like any insightful stories I have for you guys. The reason she's not in there is because she's not a long-term partner. She's a mistress basically overseas when I decided to travel to the Cayman Islands specifically, and I've done it a few times now. So let me start from scratch, and then you'll see the dark side of female nature that I'm kind of talking about. So it starts off in 2023. I go to visit the Cayman Islands with my family. Little family vacation. It's fun, but at night, while they go to sleep, I figured I wanted to, mingle in some of the bars and, maybe meet some people. And I ended up making a bunch of friends there. The Cayman Islands is awesome for that reason. It's all very tight-knit. Everyone seems to know each other because it's a very small population size. So I made a bunch of friends there. Even though it is a little cliquey, everyone knows each other, super welcoming people. Made a bunch of friends there, and we ended up going to like some bars together back and forth. Anyway, first bar I went to, ended up meeting a girl there and hooking up with her, and she didn't look that great, if I'm being honest, and I considered taking her home, but I was like, well, I wouldn't have took her home because me and my parents had a hotel together. I would have went to her place, but I ended up instead deciding to go to another bar with the friends I met, and then she kept my number. She asked like, where are you going or whatever. Told her, so she met me there. What ended up happening was I saw a different girl that I liked a bit more. I ended up going back to her place, this other girl, and I just figured I would throw this in the story to show you guys another interesting, like, transparent part of experience, like a female nature that I figured I would show you guys. And this was her reaction the next day after I ditched her, and how she didn't really like dislike me at all, even though I ditched her. And it just goes to show, like, you could get away with anything if she desires you, if she likes you. It doesn't matter if you did something disrespectful, like chose another girl over her. Anyway, she's not the main character of today's story. The main character of today's story is not in the context doc because she's not a long-term partner. So we'll give her the name Caribbean Queen, okay? We'll call her Caribbean Queen. She's like just a mistress, right? And so I went home with her. We had a great time. And then I was in the Cayman Islands for a couple more days. So for the next 2 nights, I just figured I would keep going back to her. And it was fun, like not only did we, do the obvious, but, she showed me some cool songs and all, and we vibed. And she was a pretty cool girl and all. So I always had a favorable memory of her. And we kept in touch through Instagram. She would like my stories, here and there, and like my pictures and whatnot. So always I'm in the back of her mind. Now, about a year passes or so, and I see on her Instagram that she looks to be like in a relationship with some guy who I'd say is probably like a 5. He was like a construction worker, 5, white guy, maybe 5.5. And even though they were in this relationship, she was still liking my stories. And this happens with like tons of girls. This is a very common thing, but I wanted to highlight this story because it gets even worse than this. But yeah, that's something that girls do. Like, that they're in relationships and yet they're throwing out likes on Instagram stories to guys, which is just so sad. Like, it's just genuine. It made me feel bad because I didn't have any emotional attachment to this girl. Like, I didn't give a fuck. I just slept with her a couple nights, and I see on her Instagram page, like, she got a boyfriend. So because, like, we never had anything more than just sleeping together, I'm like, I don't give a fuck. But I couldn't help but, like, feel bad for the dude. Like, damn, this guy, this sucker, man. Like, this girl's over here liking my Instagram stories and all. And it just goes to show, like, man, if a girl is like following any other guys, like it's just so hard to take them serious. This is what happens when your standards like keep increasing. It's just hard to take a girl serious who follows anyone other than like her family members and like her father. Is that a crazy thought? Yeah, you know, it's funny. Like two of the girls that I put in the doc, Gianna was a pseudonym and Bella, like I didn't have this thing with them because like they literally just, it's like they knew to unfollow all the guys after like a couple months in or so, because I did decide to check, and like I saw like the followers dropping and they just unfollowed these guys. And Bella actually completely deactivated her Instagram, which was extremely attractive. This came later, and that's a whole lore in itself, the story of Gianna and Bella when I was seeing both of them together. That is such an insightful lore that I cannot wait to share with you guys, but that is going to get its own video. Anyway, a little bit of a tangent. The point is, I just find it very attractive when a girl is following any other guy after she's been like, if she's been seeing you, especially if she's your boyfriend, like this guy, he was her boyfriend, it's just a repulsive thing to me. But at the same time, you can't tell her to unfollow them. It's something like they just have to know. You can't say it, because if you say it, then that's insecurity, and these things matter, you know, it's a bad look. You never want to say shit like that. Maybe you could drop hints here and there indirectly about it, but you just kind of got to hope that they know better and they know to unfollow anyone that has been in their past, or just any guy that like hit on them and they exchange Instagrams. There's just no reason for them to be following. Anyway, it gets so much worse than this. It gets so much worse. So after a while, I noticed, I think, because I don't think it was an Instagram post, it was like an Instagram story she posted with her boyfriend. So a couple of months went by, like I didn't know if they were still together or not. She slid up on my story once with like a fire reaction or something. And I think I said something along the lines of like, should I come back or whatever? And she was like, oh, I don't know, maybe she DM'd me something like, I still think about you sometimes. And I don't remember exactly what provoked it. I'll find the screenshots of our conversation and I'll show you though, just to be fully transparent. And then because she said that to me, like I followed up with something like jokingly, half serious, half not, like, yeah, you know, like I should come see you again in the Caribbean. You know, I want to come visit. I was half serious, half joking, because I mean, I do have the money to just make a casual trip like that and not give a fuck. And she was like, well, I'd love that, but it's complicated right now because I have a boyfriend. And I'm just thinking like, oh my God, like, why are you DMing me? Like, why is this happening? I couldn't help but just feel bad. Like, it just made me feel really bad. And, you know, if I had no involvement, no prior involvement at all with this girl, I probably would have blocked her then, just because it's just so sad to me. But I'll confess to you guys, you know, something that might be flawed about me is, even if I had only, you know, like done it once, or I guess like 3 times the 3 nights I was there, it low-key does make me want to like reclaim it. And it's fucked up. It's like, it's not a good thing, and I'm willing to confess that to you guys. So I did continue entertaining the messages. So eventually, I don't remember what triggered it exactly. Oh, I think it was because I had gone through, I don't know if you would call it a breakup, because I was never their boyfriend. I just kept extending a situationship with Gianna and Bella, and both of those fell apart around like the same time. They ended up restarting about a month and a half later. We'll have to get into that with the lore in that story, but at that particular time, it was around March of 2025, I think. That was our first like split up. And I'll explain how that happened and all. So at that time, I was like, okay, now I'm single, you know, like, I was always single, but I was like, okay, I don't really have a reliable girl like that. I really am excited to see her or whatever. So I entertained a message from her DM or something. I think she just DM'd at like the perfect timing. And I was just like, yeah, fuck it, I'll come to the Cayman Islands. So I went to the Cayman Islands, did like a little trip and all, and ended up inviting her to my hotel, and we just spent the whole vacation together, just me and her. And it was just a really great time, and it was great, you know, no strings attached. There was like no emotion involved at all. I mean, on her end there was, but like for me, I don't give a fuck. Like, I barely know this girl. It was just pure fun, and it was a really great time, honestly. So that happened in March, and then I went back home, and she kind of knows the deal. She knows, like, I'm not gonna like get serious with her or whatever and like fly her here or some shit. She knew the deal, so she didn't bother me too much, but she would still like my Instagram stories and whatnot. And then I ended up getting back with Gianna and Bella, and I was seeing them for another few months, and then we fell out again, Gianna and Bella, and it's mostly because they found out about, well, Bella found out about the existence of Gianna, but the reason she found out about the existence of Gianna was mostly because of Emiliana. If you guys recall, that girl who stalks me crazy still, and she shows up to my apartment uninvited. She's the one who actually triggered that fallout, because Emiliana one night came to my apartment uninvited. I told this in that story video, and that same night she came uninvited, she had been snapping pictures inside of my place. And I didn't notice this at the time, but she was saying stuff like, turn on the lights, like turn the lights on, because she came at like 3 a.m. and I was asleep. And it didn't occur to me why she was asking for the lights to be turned on so much, until I realized afterwards what happened. And it's because Bella told me that she received a bunch of pictures that some girl who DM'd her from some fake Finsta account, who she assumed was Gianna, but it really was Emiliana. And Emiliana was the catalyst that ended up making Bella look into everything a bit more and start second guessing everything, because there were some situations earlier that Bella let slide, like I accidentally gave Bella underwears that were not hers. But she let it slide because I ended up telling her like, oh, those have been under my bed for so long. My dog Romeo pulled them out or whatever. And she was extremely shocked and like petrified in the moment. But after like a week of silence, she ended up letting that slide. But she was clearly like horrified when I first gave her those. Another thing was, I posted a picture on Instagram when I took a trip with Gianna to the Dominican Republic with some girls' fingernails showing, and she asked me about it. I hope I could find the messages. I think she sent it in Spanish, because she would talk to me in Spanish and I'd talk to her in Italian. We'd try to teach each other things. And if I could find the screenshot, I'll show you. But she was like, is there something you want to tell me about this? And I played it off like, oh, that's my mom. What, are you kidding? Even though it actually was Gianna. And the hands did not look old. They were very youthful hands. But she let that slide. But after Emiliana had messaged her all these pictures saying like, I was at your man's place, you know, or whatever, Emiliana actually never found Gianna. She just found Bella's Instagram. So she didn't mess anything up with Gianna, but she messed it up with Bella. And she sent these pictures being in my apartment and all. And that was the main catalyst which caused Bella to really leave. But Bella actually came back into my life recently. But yeah, that caused her to start putting two and two together with all the situations of the underwears and the Instagram pic. And all the other random suspicions, like me not answering certain nights, my phone, not being able to hang out. You know, she just putting all the pieces together. This is a hell of a tangent, but it's like all this context is going to make sense when I bring this all together in the main story with Bella and Gianna, and it's all going to be very insightful for you guys, trust me. Like, this is very unique niche information. I feel like nobody would be willing to share on YouTube, but I'm willing to share it because I don't give a fuck, and I'm using pseudonyms for these girls in case they end up finding these videos. I don't give a fuck. Anyway, where were we? I was talking about, okay, so how it messed up with Bella. So she got the messages from Emiliana. That fell out. And then Gianna and me ended up falling out a little bit shortly after that. And I'll explain what happened with that in that video separate. But the point is, I was now single again. I mean, like, again, like, I've been single, but I now was, like, looking, you know, for something. It would either be a new girl at the club, or, like, a new girl from Hinge, or this girl in the Caribbean islands. And at the same time, I could go to the Caribbean and try to clear my mind a little bit, because I did care about those girls, Gianna and Bella. So, obviously, you know, when you go through a separation, you kind of want to distract yourself a little bit, which isn't how you get over it, but that's just naturally what you want to do. That's what I did, you know. So I ended up, it was around July, I ended up going to see her again, and we did the same thing again. We, like, would go out to dinner together. We stayed in the same hotel together, and it was basically like a no strings attached, like, temporary, like, girlfriend. Like, you get all the benefits of it, the best possible treatment and everything, but, like, no strings attached, no problems. It was a really great time. That's the amazing part with having an overseas mistress, and plus you're getting to enjoy the beach and all. Just a great time, great week, and I'll probably do it again sometime soon, and I'll explain, like, how telling this is of female nature. So after that situation, that was July 2024. Now, I mean 2025, July 2025. So now fast forward many months later, I notice she posts a picture, like a collab picture with her boyfriend. And this guy looked like, you know, a nice guy, probably like a 4.5 or 5 out of 10. Nice guy. And I'm just thinking in my head, like, I'm not gonna try to fuck this up for them. I'm just keeping my distance. I let her, you know, fly free. I'm, like, trying to be a better man now and, like, be past all that. And I just recently saw, like, maybe a week or two, whenever I posted my last picture on Instagram, my personal Instagram, she liked my picture. So I'm like, huh, that's interesting. I thought she was in a relationship. I went to check, and it turns out the picture was gone. So I guess that relationship ended. So, yeah, now it's going to be the case where she's free again, she's single again, and now she's, like, probably going to be like, yeah, going to start sliding up on my stories again, saying, like, I miss you, like, can you come to the Cayman Islands or whatever. And it's just sad. It's just fucked, because this guy probably had a relationship with her for, like, many months, and they built something which he probably thought was special, but in the back of her mind, while that whole relationship is going on, and the same with the other relationship with the first guy, like, in the back of her mind, she's just thinking about that one guy, that one fucking tourist who came through for a couple days and banged her and left and didn't give a fuck about her. And it's very sad how you can occupy so much of a girl's mind and desire. And, like, she told me, like, she would think about those nights. When I met up with her again in March and July, she told me, like, she would fantasize about those nights a lot, and she would remember the songs we shared together. And I'm just realizing, like, she probably was thinking those thoughts while she was in that comfortable relationship. Once that honeymoon phase ends, you know, if the real desire isn't there, like if these guys were just beta boxers, which I think they were, I mean, just keeping it honest, I'm pretty sure they were just, you know, like beta boxing and trying to be like the more secure, safe options. And she's a little older. I think she's got a year on me. I think she's 26. So, you know, she's trying to settle down. And that's the problem with those safe relationships that don't involve real desire. Her mind is going to be elsewhere, and her mind is going to gravitate towards that one guy who fucked her and didn't give a shit about her. And it's just really sad. It's just really sad that this is how it is. But I'm giving you guys the truth. I'm telling you how it is. So, look, try not to let this fuck with you too much. Instead, just take it as a lesson to, I guess, if you're a sub 5 and you do plan to have kids and, you know, get into a relationship with a girl, try not to go for a girl because she's like super attractive unless you're strictly prioritizing genetics for your offspring. Like if you have a mentality like me, like that eugenic mentality, that dilemma that I talked about in that one video where I weigh the dilemma of prioritizing genetics over values. But if you actually do want to enjoy your relationship and you don't want to prioritize the genetics, I would in that case recommend that you don't go for a more attractive girl and you instead go for a girl who is on the less attractive side, but she seems like she doesn't have much history. Like she's not the type of girl who, you know, would have had one night stands like this or whatever. Because the sad, unfortunate truth is that's all it takes with girls. One single one night stand, and then their memory is permanently scarred. They're like permanently imprinted. It's a permanent scar on them. If it was something that involved desire, you know, if they really desired that guy, which is usually the case with one night stands, it's the girl just acting out of pure primal desire, that's going to leave an imprint on them. So if you're a sub 5 and you're planning to go into a relationship through beta buxing or status maxing, because it is possible for sure to land a good, healthy relationship that way, I'm just warning you to make sure you vet the girl properly, because otherwise, if you're trying to enjoy the relationship, then you're eventually going to get your emotions and your ego involved too. And then if you find out about some situation like this somehow, so I mean, you might never find out, but if you do find out about it somehow, it's going to probably not be good for your mental health. It's probably going to end up fucking with you a lot. You know, you're going to start thinking about like how you might come up short or whatever. It's going to fuck with you. It's just not going to be good for your mental health. So if you are a sub 5 or even like a normie, keep your standards low. If you just want to have a healthy relationship that you're going to enjoy, and try to just prioritize looking for a virtuous, pure girl, even if she's not the most attractive. And that's going to lead to a higher quality of life, because you're not going to deal with some shit like this. For all I know, the reason they might have broken up, those two relationships, who knows? Like maybe that guy like looked through her following, saw on my Instagram I had posted pictures visiting the Cayman Islands. Because, you know, like I wouldn't be surprised. She only follows like 200 or 400 people or 300 people. I don't know, something like that. He probably saw me in there, you know, and he probably visited my public profile. He probably saw I visited there, and he's like, oh, fuck, come on. And I think I do have images where like her nails are visible or something, or there's a clear presence of a female, like us having dinner together or something. Actually, I think Gianna kindly requested I delete that picture, so that one might not be on my carousel anymore. Anyway, besides the point, there's a chance that this guy might have like found me and maybe asked about me, and that could have been a catalyst that fucked with their dynamic. Because that's all it takes, really. It could have been part of it. Anyway, the other avenue is, because I talked about this dilemma in that video where I talk about weighing if you want to focus on eugenics or enjoying the relationship for yourself. So it's like, are you going to focus on making a good life for your child, your offspring, or for yourself? I don't know, honestly, what I've decided yet. I think like I lean more towards the eugenics side, but at the same time, like I just cannot see myself entertaining, you know, a whore. Not a whore, but just like a girl with some history. Like, I just hate that. It's just very repulsive to me, but it is so rare to find a girl that's both, you know? That's kind of how I've been coping. I've just been like hoping I somehow come across the best of both worlds and I could somehow get that, but I probably won't. I don't know. Anyway, if on the other hand you are deciding to prioritize genetics and just looks, in that case, just make sure you know the deal. Make sure you go into it knowing that she probably has history if it's a good-looking girl, and you're not going to be the best one in that history that she truly desires. And yeah, it's just, don't let your ego get attached to that. Go into it like someone like fucking, I don't know, like Rick Ross would probably go into his things. Rick Ross would probably go into relationships because he's a pure beta buxer, status maxer, who probably knows the deal. He probably knows he's not attractive. He probably knows, like, yeah, these bitches want me for money, and that's how a lot of these rappers are. Like, they know the deal, and they talk about it in their music. They're like, yeah, I got all these racks, I'll spend all these racks on these bitches, but I'll never get attached. A lot of them are fucking retarded, and they end up getting attached. But they preach not to. They preach like, I'll never take a hoe serious, this and that, whatever. Tangent, holy shit. Let me try to lock in on this. So if you decide to go that route where you just go for attraction, whether it's because you enjoy that for your sexual desire or for your offspring's sake, just don't get your emotions involved. Stay detached. Because if you get attached and you start then getting curious about her history and all, you're going to find out about some shit like this, and it's going to really torment you. So yeah, these are some dark truths. And I guess I'm trying to help you navigate the dilemma here, because it's a very nuanced dilemma that nobody wants to talk about. It's a conversation that nobody wants to have. But I'm willing to tell you guys these things, and I'm willing to try to help you through it. Try to be like your, I don't know, like try to walk you through it and let you know that there's two options you could take. And you could take the middle ground too, where you kind of like try to find someone that's a bit of both or whatever. But just know what you're getting with both sides of the spectrum. So again, just to sum it up, if you're somebody who's not really gonna attain much desire, like you probably want to shoot pretty far down and just try to find a girl that has good morals, girl who has a very low to no history, and then you won't have to deal with shit like this. And maybe you'll get lucky through genetic recombination with your child. Honestly, maybe the best route is to shoot down, yes, but with a girl who has good height, because a girl with tall height won't do much better on the market than a shorter girl. But she could still have a very low SMV because of her face. So maybe that's the route. Maybe that's the ideal route, where you could end up ensuring your kid isn't fully cooked, because maybe he'll get some, or she'll get some lucky genetic recombination in the face, and then you're also maybe meeting a girl who's like 5'7" plus, and it's like, all right, I know my kid's at least gonna have decent height. At least we got that covered. So yeah, that's probably your best route for the most enjoyment, so you don't got to deal with some shit like this. Finding out about a girl who like has some guy overseas who she fantasizes about, and all he had to do was show up for a couple days and like fuck her. On the other hand, you could take the route, purely eugenic route, and you just make sure you stay completely emotionally detached. Easier said than done, depending on what kind of man you are. Personally, it's not something I have to try to do. I just don't really get attached to these girls very much. I put like highlights in that document, the ones that I've cared about, and I darken them more red for the ones I've cared more about. But I've always cared about them in like a more fatherly sense, like a protective sense, not exactly like a in-love partner sense, if that makes sense to you. And don't take that in a weird like incest kind of way with me saying father. That's not what I mean. I mean like a protective guardian sense. Like I care about them like that. But yeah, I don't really seem to get attached to them. But some guys definitely will, and this is really just your genetics. You know, it depends what your genetic makeup is like. Some guys are going to be more attached than others, and you got to know this about yourself, and you got to live true to your biology. If you're someone who's going to get an emotional attachment, just be careful, guys. Be careful, because if you get with a girl who's had a promiscuous past, you find some shit about this, it's probably gonna lead you to some like mental torment. Like that shit probably is not gonna be good for your mental health. I don't know, leave in the comments below if you've experienced anything like that. Maybe some guys could resonate with your stories or something. So yeah, that's the story of the Caribbean Queen. I'm not gonna lie, now that relationship's done with them and she's hitting me up by liking my stories, if she slides up on something, like I might even make a trip there again, fuck it. But it's not something I'm urgent to do right now, because currently, if you're following along with my vlogs or even just looking at the context doc, you'll know that I'm seeing Starla and Skyline right now, and I really like both of them. I got no complaints with either of them. They've both been really good to me. And then at the same time, we have Monica trying to re-enter my life. I've made videos on her before. She's the one who strategically tried to ghost me, and I didn't fall for it. And now she's hitting me up. So I could bring her back into the mix too. And then Bella also has tried to re-enter my life just like 2 weeks ago. Well, she did before that. Before I took a little trip to Florida, she had broken the no contact, and we were Snapchatting for a little bit. She asked me to go out to dinner, and I told her I couldn't because I was sick. And then I took too long to respond to her. I think she took it as disinterest, so I think she tried to be strategic and she ghosted me for like a couple weeks. And I'm like, okay, like I'll just wait. And she just ended up hitting me back up again a couple weeks later now on Snapchat. She like sent me 3 videos like last week, and I still haven't opened them. And it's funny, now she's pursuing me even harder. She just texted me again, and this is without me having opened her snaps. I post some of these smaller updates in the Discord, by the way, if you like to keep up with this stuff. And yeah, not only is this stuff like insightful, but I feel like you guys could probably find this entertaining. I'd say it's more entertaining than a reality show or a scripted TV show, because this is actual real life. Like these are my real life experiences, and you could learn a lot because it's truth. This is true. It's not like some Hollywood script that was written, and so you don't know if you could take any lessons from the script or not. Nah, this is my real life. And so, yeah, it could be entertaining the same way a TV show is, because that's why everyone watches TV. It's for like those relationships and stuff. Like, we're all humans. We find that stuff fascinating. It's normal. But I'd say this is better to follow along with because this is true. This is non-scripted. Like, I'm not trying to push any agenda or whatever. This is just raw, authentic truth with female nature. And there's a lot of insights you guys can pull from this. And it all depends on how you analyze it. Like, I'm trying to give my conclusions with them as well, but you could come up with your own conclusions. Like, I'm giving you the facts. I'm giving you the facts with these stories, and you guys can come up with your own ideas and theories in the comments below, what it means or whatnot, because maybe my conclusions are wrong. Maybe some of you guys like conclude things better than me. I don't know, but yeah, I think there's a lot of value in this, and at the same time, it could be entertaining. So that's why I'm sharing these stories with you guys of my past and also the ongoing situations of, yeah. So yeah, that's the story of the Caribbean Queen. I don't have her in the context doc because I don't consider her a long-term partner, but it's an interesting one nonetheless. There's a similar girl who lives in Italy. Met her in Sardinia. It's kind of a similar situation. I keep telling her I'm gonna come back, and she's like, when? Like, you said that last year. You said. I keep stringing her along. I'm fucking terrible, honestly. But yeah, we'll tell that story one day too. There's a lot of good stories, guys. But I hope you can learn something from this, and if not learn something, hey, at least maybe you found it entertaining. I don't know. All right, that's the story of the Caribbean Queen.